We were approaching the shores of America by steamer. We were due to arrive in the morning. I came off watch, tired, and could not sleep. I kept thinking about what it would be like there. It was as if in my childhood I had been brought a whole box of toys, and only tomorrow I could open it. I kept thinking that in the morning I would open my eyes and people, new places around me, speaking an incomprehensible language, not like in the picture. Bananas right on the trees, a new city. Everything will move, will play. And alligators. The main thing is that I wanted to see alligators. I couldn't believe that they were there, not like in the zoological garden, but just walking around. Suddenly, such a huge thing would crawl along the street. I couldn't sleep. My legs were itching with impatience. You know, when you travel on land, it is not the same. You see how everything is gradually changing. But here it's 2 weeks of ocean, water, and a new country at once. It's like the curtain was raised in the theater. In the morning, there was a clattering on deck. I rushed to the porthole, to the window. It was ready. A white city standing on the shore, a port, ships, boats near the board. In them, people with dark skin and white hats, teeth shining, shouting something. The sun was shining with all its might, hot it seems, presses with light. Then I went crazy, as if I was not me, and it was all a fairy tale. I didn't want to eat anything since morning. Dear friends, I'll stand 2 watches at sea for you. Let me go ashore as soon as possible. The 2 of them jumped ashore. In the port, in the city, everything is boiling, boiling. People are crowding, and we are like madmen. We don't know what to look at, and we don't walk, but as if we were carried away by something. And after the sea, it is always strange to walk along the shore. We saw a streetcar. We got on the streetcar. We didn't know why we were going. We just wanted to go further. We were crazy. The streetcar rushes us. We are looking around and did not notice how we got to the outskirts. It won't go any further. We got out. The road. Let's follow the road. We'll get somewhere. Here we calmed down a bit and noticed that it was very hot. The sun is over our heads. The shadow from you does not lie down, but all the shadow under you. You walk and trample your shadow. We have already passed quite a distance. We did not meet people. And then we see an elephant coming towards us. 4 guys are running along the road with him. I could not believe my eyes. We had never seen one in the city, and here he was walking along the road. I thought I'd escaped from the zoo. The elephant saw us and stopped. We got scared. There were no adults with him. The guys were alone. Who knows what he's got in mind? He'll wave his trunk once, and that's it. And the elephant probably thought about us like that. Some unusual, unknown people are coming. Who knows them? And he did. Now the elephant bent his trunk with a hook. The older boy stood on this hook like on a footstool, holding on to the trunk with his hand, and the elephant carefully lifted him on his head. The elephant sat there between his ears like on a table. Then the elephant lifted 2 more at once in the same way, and the 3rd one was small, about 4 years old. He must have been wearing only a short shirt, like a t-shirt. The elephant put his trunk in front of him and said, "Come and sit down." But he was doing different tricks, laughing and running away. The elder shouts to him from above, and he jumps up and teases him. "You can't take it," he says. The elephant did not wait, lowered his trunk and went away. He pretended that he did not want to look at his antics. He walks, trunk wiggling, and the boy curls around his feet, wiggling. And just when he was expecting nothing, the elephant suddenly snaps his trunk, and so cleverly, caught him by his shirt from behind and lifted him up carefully. He's twitching his arms and legs like a bug. No way, no games for you. The elephant picked him up, carefully lowered him on his head, and there the guys took him in. He was still trying to resist on the elephant. We were on the same side of the road, and the elephant looked at us carefully and cautiously from the other side. And the guys are also looking at us and whispering among themselves. They sit, like on a house, on the roof. Here, I think, it's great. They have nothing to fear there. If even a tiger came across, the elephant would catch the tiger, grab him with his trunk across his belly, squeeze him, throw him over a tree, and if he doesn't get his tusks, he will still trample him with his feet until he stomps him to a pulp. But here he took the boy like a booger, with 2 fingers, carefully and gently. The elephant passed by us. Look, he turned off the road and went into the bushes. The bushes are dense, prickly, growing in a wall, and he climbed over them like a weed. Only the branches crunch, and went towards the forest. He stopped near a tree, took a branch with his trunk, and ducked the guys. They immediately jumped up on their feet, grabbed the branch and collected something from it. And the little one jumps up, tries to grab it too, struggling as if he was not on the elephant but on the ground. The elephant lets go of the branch and bends down another branch. The same story again. Here the little one, it seems, got into the roll. He climbed up on the branch so that he could get it too, and is working. The elephant let go of the branch, but the little one flew with the branch. Well, we think, he's lost. Now he flew like a bullet into the forest. We rushed there, but no way. We couldn't get through the bushes, thorny, thick, tangled. We saw an elephant fumbling in the leaves with his trunk. He found this little one. It was probably clung there by a monkey, and took it out and put it back in its place. Then the elephant went to the road ahead of us and went back. We followed him. He was walking, and at times he looked back at us, squinting at us. Why are some people coming from behind? So we followed the elephant to the house. There's a fence around it. The elephant opened the gate with his trunk and carefully went into the yard. There he lowered the boys to the ground. In the yard, a woman began to shout something at him. She did not notice us at once, and we were standing there, looking through the fence. The woman shouted at the elephant. The elephant reluctantly turned and went to the well. At the well there are 2 posts dug in, and between them there is a gate. There is a rope coiled on it and a handle on the side. The elephant took hold of the handle with his trunk and began to twirl it. He twirled it as if it were empty and pulled it out. There was a whole bucket on the rope, 10 gallons. The elephant rested the base of his trunk on the handle to stop it from spinning, bent his trunk, picked up the bucket and put it on the edge of the well like a mug with water. The woman drew water and made the boys carry it too. She was just doing laundry. The elephant lowered the bucket again and pulled the full bucket to the top. The mistress started to scold him again. The elephant let the bucket go into the well, shook his ears and went away. He didn't want to get any more water. He went under the shed. And there in the corner of the courtyard, there was a shelter on flimsy posts, just enough for an elephant to get under it. Reeds and some long leaves were piled on top. Just then, a man, the owner himself, appeared. He saw us. We said we had come to see an elephant. The owner knew a little English, asked who we were. He kept pointing at my cap. I said Americans, and he didn't know what Americans were. Not English? No, I said. Not English. He was happy. He laughed. He became different at once. He invited me to his place. The locals can't stand the English. The English conquered their country long ago. They rule here and keep people under their authority. I asked him, why doesn't the elephant come out? And that he was offended, he said, and not in vain. Now he won't work for anything until he gets over it. We see the elephant come out from under the shed, go through the gate and away from the yard. We think he'll be gone now, but the owner is laughing. The elephant went to the tree, leaned on its side, and started rubbing. It's a big tree. It's moving all over the place. That's him scratching like a pig against the fence. He scratched, gathered dust in his trunk, and blows dust and earth where he scratched. One and another and another. He cleans it to prevent anything from getting started in the folds. All his skin is as hard as a sole, and in the folds, thinner, and in the southern lands there are a lot of biting insects. After all, look how he is. He does not scratch the posts in the barn so as not to destroy them. He even sneaks there carefully, but he goes to the tree to scratch. I said to the owner, "How clever he is." And he laughs. "Well," he says, "if I had lived 150 years, I would have learned something else." And he points to the elephant. My grandfather nursed him. I looked at the elephant, and it seemed to me that the elephant was the boss, not the man. I said, "Is he old?" "No," he said. "He's 150 years old. He's in his prime. I have an elephant, his son, 20 years old, just a child. By the age of 40, he's just starting to get strong. Wait till the elephant comes, and you'll see he's small." The elephant came, and with her an elephant as big as a horse, without tusks. He followed his mother like a colt. The owner's children rushed to help their mother, started jumping, going somewhere. The elephant also went. The elephant and the baby elephant went with them. The owner explains that they are going to the river. We also went with the boys. They didn't shun us. They all tried to speak. They in their own way, we in English, and laughed all the way. The little one pestered us the most. He kept putting on my cap and shouting something funny, maybe about us. The air in the forest was fragrant, spicy, thick. We walked through the forest. We came to the river. Not a river, but a stream. Fast, rushing, so the bank and washes away. There is a precipice to the water. The elephants entered the water and took the baby elephant with them. They put him where the water was up to his chest and began to wash him together. They take sand and water from the bottom in their trunks and water it like a hose. It's great, only splashes fly. But children are afraid to get into the water. The current is too fast. It will carry them away. They jump on the shore and start throwing pebbles at the elephant. He doesn't care. He doesn't even pay attention. He's washing his elephant. Then I see he took water in his trunk and suddenly turned to the boys and blew a jet straight into one of their bellies. He sat down. He's laughing and laughing. The elephant washes his again, and the children pester him even more with pebbles. The elephant only shakes his ears. Don't bother him, you see. There is no time to fool around. And just when the boys were not waiting, thinking that he would blow water on the elephant, he immediately turned his trunk and hit them. They were happy, tumbling around. The elephant came to the shore. The elephant stretched out his trunk like a hand. The elephant intertwined his trunk with his and helped him to climb up the cliff. They all went home, 3 elephants and 4 children. The next day I had already asked where I could see the elephants at work. At the edge of the forest by the river, a whole city of hewn logs was built, stacks of logs, each as high as a house. There was an elephant standing there, and it was immediately obvious that he was an old man. His skin was sagging and rough, and his trunk was hanging down like a rag, and his ears were tattered. I see another elephant coming from the forest. In his trunk, a log is swinging, a huge hewn timber. It must weigh a ton. The bearer stoops heavily and approaches the old elephant. The old one picks up the log from one end, and the carrier lowers the log and climbs with his trunk to the other end. I look. What are they going to do? And the elephants together, as if on command, lifted the log up on their trunks and carefully put it on the stack, so evenly and correctly, like carpenters at a construction site, and not a single person around them. I found out later that this old elephant was the head foreman. He had already grown old on this job. The bearer went leisurely into the forest, and the old man hung up his trunk, turned his back to the stack, and looked at the river, as if he wanted to say, "I've had enough of this. I wouldn't look at it." And the third elephant with a log was coming from the forest. We went back to where the elephants were coming from. I'm ashamed to tell you what we saw there. The elephants were carrying these logs from the forest to the river. In one place on the road, 2 trees on the sides, so that an elephant with a log can't pass. The elephant reaches this place, puts the log down on the ground, bends his knees, bends his trunk, and pushes the log forward with his nose, with the very base of his trunk. The earth and stones fly, the log rubs and plows the ground, and the elephant crawls and pushes. You can see how hard it is for him to crawl on his knees. Then he gets up, takes a breath, and does not immediately take the log. He turns it across the road again and kneels down again. He puts his trunk on the ground and with his knees rolls the log onto the trunk. He's not going to crush the trunk. Look, he's up and carrying again. The log swings like a heavy pendulum on its trunk. There were 8 of them, all elephant carriers, and each had to shove the log with his nose. People did not want to cut down the 2 trees that stood on the road. We did not like to see the old man pushing at the stack and felt sorry for the elephants that were crawling on their knees. We stood there for a while and left.